Every single second, 2 pieces of child sexual abuse material is shared online, and now an international group that fights to address the causes and effects of sexual violence against children and adolescents is singling out France for particular criticism. The Cameleon Association says that France is becoming something of a haven for online child sexual abuse content. Just 2 years ago, French servers hosted just 1% of URLs or web addresses that led to child sexual abuse material. But last year, that figure dramatically rose from 1 to 7%. France now then joining the leading group as the 5th largest country for such content globally, after only Bulgaria, the US, the Netherlands and Romania. Joining me here on set is Advocacy Officer for Cameleon Association, Eglantine Camille. Thanks very much for coming in and talking.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, it's such a sudden leap, isn't it, from 1% to 7% in just 1 year. I mean, why has that suddenly happened?
What's important to understand is that not only France is the 5th country hosting most child sexual abuse material, but European Union is hosting 63% of those contents. What's happening is that we don't put as much efforts as we did before to tackle child sexual abuse crisis online. But what we have to remember behind those images, that saying that this is not just a statistic behind those images, behind those videos. There are criminal acts, there are offenders filming child sexual abuse, there are offenders forcing children to send intimate contents or sometimes misusing their images with AI.
And how is it possible to get inside the minds of such people to understand why they do that and why perhaps they actually feel disconnected from the images themselves? Because that's the problem, isn't it? That people don't really think about the fact that that's a human being that they're putting online.
Yeah, of course. If there is an image, it's because someone filmed it or someone created it before. What's happening is that people that are consuming those contexts are not doing it always because they have an attraction, a sexual attraction for children. They are doing it because it's a criminal offense. It's something that with that you can dominate a child, and that's why people are consuming those contents.
And it's particularly, you found as well, middle school students that are quite often affected. Why is that?
Yeah, of course. You have to know that with AI, it's even worse. Because today we have videos, we have images, extremely realistic ones, that are spreading widely online. They're depicting young girls in extremely violent situations, and they are just exchanged, spread, or sometimes sold to users. And what's happening is that if we have 2 child sexual abuse material that are shared online every second, of course people are seeing them. And we have middle school boys saying that they are exposed to those contents on Telegram, on Snapchat sometimes, because people are sending them those contents.
And you talked right at the beginning about the main problem being the lack of regulation, the lack of clamping down, if you like. I mean, why is that happening and what needs to change?
Still now, European Union still does not allow digital platforms to detect, to actively and proactively detect those contents online and remove them. Why is that? Until now, there was a temporary derogative in the Europe, but this framework, it expired on April the 3rd, and now we're just waiting for European institutions to just agree on a permanent regulation. But we have to go further, because when we talk about detection, it's a voluntary detection. But why should platforms not be required to act? We're saying that offenders are using social media, they are using online games, they are using messaging apps to abuse children. So leaving the detection to the goodwill is not enough if we want to protect effectively children online.
So the legislation is needed, but also those companies, you would say, I'm sure, should be taking action anyway.
Yeah, because they have the responsibility. When a digital platform creates a space, a public space, they create something, a social place in our society. And when you create something like that, you have to make sure that it's safe, that all the users, including children, are protected.
You've also been campaigning after the story here in France of childlike sex dolls being sold online. If you're a regular viewer of France 24, I'm sure you will remember this from a few months ago. And you actually helped produce a video that highlights the problem. Let's watch it.
I'm the doll everyone is talking about. I was created so sexual predators could abuse me while waiting for the day they'll do it to real children. But those children won't be as lucky as I am. Because no one will speak up for them.
A very creepy video, quite a hard-hitting video, but I mean, it does make the point, doesn't it?
Yeah, it made the point because some students contacted us. We work with students daily to raise awareness on this subject. And students contacted us because they said why people are talking every minute about those sexual dolls, and it's a problem. But we don't remember that behind those dolls, there is like one child victim of rape, incest, assault every 3 minutes in France, and they have to be on our discussions on our topics as well.
And presumably there's an awful lot that happens as well, which is hidden, that people don't know about, that's going on in homes and on computers across the country.
Yeah, it's really hard to make people understand that 3 children in a class are victims of incest, because it's saying that our families maybe are something dangerous for our children. Maybe we have to think about how we can consider making sure that a father can't assault his children. And it's very, very difficult to think because it's absolutely horrific to understand that.
I'm sure as well with the changes in technology, you're always trying to think ahead of what is going to be the next big problem. Presumably artificial intelligence is starting to become a huge problem in this area as well.
Yeah, since 2023, we see like videos or images generated by AI, but now they are becoming more and more realistic. There are videos, fully synthetic videos. There are more and more violence, and it's contributing to normalize this phenomenon. And what's happening also is that in France, it's prohibited to possess and to diffuse, to share AI-generated child sexual abuse material, but technically, it's not prohibited to create it. Technically, it's not prohibited to provide AI tools that allow this creation. So we have some efforts to do in this area as well.
So just finally, I mean, sum it up for us, everything that we've talked about, everything that we've heard over the last 5 minutes or so. I mean, what needs to change? What's the big thing that people need to really work on to stamp these problems?
First of all, we have to raise awareness among all the society to understand what those contents means, what they mean for our children, what they mean for our society. But then we have to straighten and massively the prevention work we do, and to sustain organizations like Cameleon, but others as well, that are on the field every day to prevent violence, to teach to children, but also to adults, what consent is, and how should they protect themselves. Then we have to work on our legislations, and all the states, all the governments must promote and allow the detection of those contents and their removing.
Good to have you with us on the programme today. Thanks very much for coming in and talking to us. Eglantine Camille there from the Chameleons Association here in France. Thanks.